afternoon, Canberra. Welcome back to On the Right Track. It's your host, as always, Maggie Wright. We've got Shaun here in the studio talking about some hockey and underwater hockey, which is one of the only hockeys we haven't covered here. We're doing field hockey today. How are you doing today, Shaun?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's wonderful. We're both with the UC Stars Devils at the moment.
Well, I think we've taken the Devils out even.
Oh.
We're just UC Stars hockey.
UC Stars hockey, there you go.
Yeah.
I made sure I wore me Devil shorts today. Got it all right.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so I've played hockey since I was 7.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm 21 now. I've got the ropes around it, I'd like to think.
Yeah.
So
I reckon you probably played hockey longer than I have then.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Parks, so that's kind of how that
enough.
rolls.
Yeah, no, there's some hockey royalty from Parks,
yeah,
actually. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, right. Wow. No, well, yeah, I started playing hockey when I was at university. I had a mate who I lived with on res, and we both loved sport. And I said I'd played football and cricket all my sort of junior years, and he said, "Oh, come along and have a go at hockey." And so I did, and we were the UC Devils Hockey Club back then. And so I went along for the first year. I was pretty terrible at everything. I
think that's how your first year really goes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely people I've seen coming in the club as well. It's the case for them. But, yeah, I fell in love with the club. I fell in love with the people that were a part of the club. And it's a very social club. It's funny that they market themselves as the most social hockey club in Canberra, but it's actually easy to see that.
Yeah.
There are events all through the year. Everyone's really encouraging. They stick around after games and, cheer on each other. And so I fell in love with that part, I think, more than the game itself. And then the rest is history. I've been a part of the club now since 2013, which is when I started. And I've made lifelong friends. I've been, groomsmen for mates that I met purely through hockey.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah. And it's a big family that really, I think everyone gets along with each other. And I think that's the biggest thing is, you have first grade ladies that, will socialise with the 6th grade men and everything in between. And I think everyone just gets along really well. And it's so important to have that as part of sport because I think it's one of the big reasons people play sport.
Oh, yeah. Easily, yeah. Because you had the amazing race on the weekend.
We did, yep. I've got to shout out to Maggie Lee, who is our events person. She did a phenomenal job. It was such a great event. It's not really something we've done before, but it was really fun. There was a lot of running involved. Probably a bit too much running for me, but yeah, it was great. And we had people, again, from all the different teams running around the lake. There was chaos, there was mayhem, there were scooters involved, so it was always going to... Yeah. It's always going to be issues. But no, we had a great time. Part of our season opener. So season starts the week after Easter, so a lot to get ready. But yeah, it was a great way to start the season.
Yeah, I think the most social event I remember is trivia a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, we have an annual trivia night, which I think it would probably be the best attended social event that we have each year. And yeah, it's always a bit wild and wacky. We put our own spin, I guess, on how a trivia night should be run. So things get a little bit out of hand at times, but no, it's great fun.
Well, yeah, one of the things like does your team have was a tattoo. And the only one I had at the time was my precariously placed Rabbitohs tattoo, which everyone saw because I was a little bit on the drink that night. So yeah, that's what I remember from trivia night, and that's about it, nearly.
Yeah, no, there have been some dusty trivia nights for people, but no, I guess what we try and do is make sure that we've got social events for everyone. So it's not just a night out on the town, which I think is nice to have sometimes, but I think people get a little bit sick and tired of it. And as a club, we have grown beyond just student membership. So we have a lot of alumni that are part of the club, and those people are transitioning to young families, that sort of thing. And so a night out on the town is not really feasible any longer. So no, trivia night is just one of the events that we do, and it's really great. I I'd like to say that there were more correct answers that occurred on the night.
No.
No.
That would not be accurate.
Yeah, no, not at all. But no, it's a really fun night. And I guess it's a really easy way for us to engage our membership in raising funds for the club as well. Community sport, it's difficult to get sponsors and that sort of thing. So we do ask a lot of our members to help out in regards to that. But I guess if you do it in a fun way, you don't really realise.
Yeah, that's the way. We're transitioning to blue colours, is that right?
Well,
or is that up for debate?
Yeah, no, it's still to be decided.
All right. Well,
yeah, no, we're not quite sure really. I guess we'll find out. But it's more about not clashing, I guess, with other clubs.
Yeah,
and that
fair.
makes it really difficult. Yeah.
If anyone who saw us or even knew about the UC Devils for UC Stars, we had highlighter yellow there for a hot sec.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. There have been different iterations of our uniform over the years. The highlighter yellow was very much an error.
Yep.
And I'm not going to repeat the words that came out of my mouth when I opened one of the boxes and saw what we've been provided. I was genuinely scared. I could not believe it was so different from what we, I guess, had intended. So yes, we did have highlighter yellow for about half the season. And I think that'll be like a vintage sort of strip that might come out, once every year down the track. But yeah, so yellow is the predominant colour and has been for a while. But obviously becoming part of the UC Stars and remaining affiliated with the university, which I think was the biggest decision the club had to make, was whether we remain yellow, we have our own brand, or we remain with the university. And the club's been around now for 54 years. And we've had a relationship with the university and CCAE before that the whole time. So I think it was really important for the members to remain a part of the university. But yes, with that comes a change in colour, which will be a lot of getting used to. For, I would say, just about all of our members. They've only ever played in yellow. So we are working to try and figure out what colour that'll be, and hopefully we'll have that sorted pretty soon. But yeah, it's a new chapter and we're looking forward to it.
I'd say in juniors, I think I played all sorts of different rainbows of colours. Then I played black and white magpies.
Oh, right.
Back home, and then Parks was red, white and blue, so the tricolours. But we could see how blue goes for us. In the break, we had a bit of a chat about the basics, which, I mean, Shaun as an umpire, you know very well, and I not choose, but I forget half the time. So we looked at ice hockey formations a couple of weeks ago, and field's different. Do you want to take it from there?
Very different, yeah. No, field is much bigger for field hockey. I guess it's very similar to a football field. Dimensions are slightly different, but it is very similar. And definitely in the country, most of the clubs will play on a football field. You got 11 people on each side, including a goalkeeper. And previously the rules were a little bit funky around who was your goalkeeper and how you identify them, but now they've got to be all padded up, have all the protection on them, which as a goalkeeper you definitely need. People hit the ball hard. Obviously everyone's got a stick. Funky thing with field hockey is you can't be left-handed, so all the sticks are right-handed. It's a skill, I guess, to turn your stick over and play backhand is the term that we use. But yeah, and then you're sort of sorted into backs, midfield, and forwards, similar to other sports. But we've got a couple of funky names. So up front, you do have your forwards or your strikers, and then we have a position that we call inners, which are inside the
they're
forwards.
Just in a little bit.
Yeah, in a little bit. And then you have your halves, and then you have your fullbacks. And I guess there are a whole lot of different formations that you can have in hockey, similar to other sports. People, mess around with how many you have at the back, how many you have in the middle, how many you have at front. But obviously the whole idea is that you score goals. You can only do that inside the circle. And anyone can score inside the circle, except obviously keeper. But yeah, you've got to make sure that the ball is inside the circle to score. So the whole idea is you pass your way up the field, get inside the circle, bang, score. There's a lot of really nuanced rules in hockey, which I think can make it difficult to pick up at the first. But I guess as you get along, you sort of come to understand the major ones, like the ball can't hit your foot. You can't.
Yeah, as someone who plays soccer quite often on the hockey field, it's not good. Don't
don't
let it touch your foot. Yeah.
And obviously, there are rules there to protect players. So you can't smack a ball at someone. Ball can't hit you above the knee, that sort of thing, just to make it a little bit safe for everyone. But yeah, I guess first and foremost, I think the best part about hockey is that it does translate that there are other sports that are quite similar, and so it can be quite easy to pick up if you have played those other sports. But I won't lie, the ball is hard, and when it does hit you in the middle of winter, in the middle of Canberra winter, it can hurt.
It warms you up. No.
Yeah.
It does hurt though, terribly.
No, it is. We're actually really fortunate in Canberra to have as many water-based services as we do. So water on the field reduces the friction, ball goes quicker. So like a golf ball, a hockey ball is dimpled, and the reason for that is to allow it to travel across the ground and through the air a lot quicker. And so we have 3 water-based pitches at Lynham, and then what we call a hybrid pitch down in Tuggeranong, and then a sand-based pitch. So, yeah, we're very fortunate with the facilities we do have here. But, yeah, I guess they're the basics of hockey. You can have up to 16 people on your team, so you got 5 reserves, and I guess similar to ice hockey, but a little bit different to other sports, is that you have unlimited reserves. So everyone subs at halfway, and that just happens throughout the game.
As often as you want, you just go and go if you like.
Yep. So for someone like me, when I'm puffed after 2 minutes, I'll call for my sub, and it's all good.
I feel that. I've been advocating for myself as a centre forward for the SL1 and SL2 tryouts.
Yep.
Don't know how long that's sticking. I've got to do more on the treadmill, I think.
Well, yeah, I also play up front. I guess from my perspective, I just like to hit a ball hard, so that sort of translates well when you're having a shot on goal. But yeah, I guess I've played every position, I think, over the years, just filling in where needed. And
utility. Yeah, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
That's how you had to roll.
Yeah. I think that's more for people that don't specialise in anything. They just chuck you wherever you fit in, wherever they need someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, out in the country, we learnt to play on grass.
Yes.
So we learnt to play with all the divots and all sorts of other stuff that was in the ground, and the ball flying absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and I never experienced that because obviously just learning hockey here in Canberra, I've only ever played on AstroTurf. So I've never experienced the grass game, but I can only assume when you add the little tufts of grass and the unevenness, it just makes the game a little bit more difficult. But I think that's why country players excel in hockey. And if you look at the history of representation, representative sides in Australia, we see so many country players that have represented Australia because they do develop those extra 6 skills that make them, just a little bit quicker and a little bit better.
Yeah, I'd like to think so anyway. I mean, we went to look when I was 7. We went on the sideline to have a look.
Yeah. And
they were running short on players. So I know it's a bit gross, but before COVID, between the sideline, we had shin pads, a stick, and a mouth guard, and they chucked me on. So
that is a bit gross.
It is, but it's what happens. So that's how my hockey career started at 7. we went to have a look.
Yeah,
and in parks, I don't think having a look's just where you stop. It's you're basically a part of it by then.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, on the turf. So I don't think it was Canberra, somewhere where we'd travelled to. There was a turf called the Moon.
the moon.
Because it felt like running on the moon.
Oh, no.
Because it was sand and bouncy and just terrible.
Yeah.
It was like grass, like proper grown grass, but worse.
Yeah, look, it's tough. And I guess a lot of country associations, a turf is a fairly expensive thing to put down and all the infrastructure around it. So a lot of country associations do still play on grass. If there are any turf lovers out there, the most immaculate turf that I've ever seen is in Crookwell, just near Goulburn. Their hockey fields, they're sexy. I'll use the word that they're sexy.
Nice.
I love looking at that grass. It is so perfectly manicured. They're very fortunate to play on that. I don't think they'd have any divots or any lumps and bumps. It looks incredible. But yeah, a lot of country associations do still play on grass, and I think it translates really well because it does teach you how to trap and pass a lot better. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact year Parks got a second turf, but growing up we only had one, and it was Stephen Davies Field, who was an Olympian. He was wonderful, and then the second one's now called Mariah Williams.
Yeah, well.
And she came for the opening of it and all the rest of it, and spoke to all the kids and was just lovely. I mean, me being one of the kids at the time, it was just wonderful.
I could only imagine, and the Hockey One finals were played in Canberra last year, which is the national competition. So I had a chance to watch her play in person. She's phenomenal. The way she sees a hockey field, it's incredible. She has such great vision. And yeah, clearly one of our best players here in Australia. She's absolutely sensational.
Yeah, so over the break we're having more of a chat about the women's and the men's teams that are representing Australia. And one woman who sticks with me is Edwina Bone. She came out and visited us out in Parks for Centre of Development, I'm pretty sure, which is a very big thing out in the country. I don't know if they do it here in Canberra, but COD was a thing we did, not the video game, but it was very big for us country kids for hockey.
Yeah, so there's a version of that in Canberra, and I think when you're talking about inspiring kids, it's important to have those role models. And when we're talking about Eddie Bone, I don't know if there are too many better role models, particularly in hockey, but I think in women's sport, Eddie's been such an incredible ambassador for the sport and for women. And I think she's had such a quite a long and very successful career. She's one of the best halves, when I say halves, sort of defensive players I've seen in women's hockey. Phenomenal, and a cracking hit on her as well. We're extremely fortunate that Eddie and her twin sister Meredith play for the UC Stars, and obviously as part of the Australian makeup, their centre of excellence is in Perth, and so all those players are based in Perth. But with Eddie recently retiring, she's actually coming back to Canberra, and she'll be playing for UC Stars this season.
Oh, you guys at CL1, or do we have something above that?
No, it'll be in CL1.
Yeah, so, wow. Watch out, CL1.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie's coming for you.
100%. So we'll have both Bone sisters playing for UC
yeah,
again.
wow.
Yeah, so it's been, it would be maybe 10 years, I think. Maybe a little bit less since that last happened. And last time it did happen, they won the premiership. So no pressure.
Yeah.
But super exciting. But no, I think that's the awesome thing about hockey is that you have such a strong women's representation within hockey. And I think that's really well celebrated by the hockey community and Hockey ACT in particular. And yeah, it's great to see, I guess, both men's and women's hockey played, almost together with all of the international games, and then, with the Hockey One League, you had men's and women's games back to back, and transfers then down into clubland. So I feel like there's a really great equality within the sport of hockey for men and women, but also for everyone from very diverse backgrounds. Hockey ACT was recently named Pride in Sport organisation of the year, which is huge. And they've done a lot of stuff to really support LGBTIQ participation within the sport. And there's a pride round every year, but they've done a lot of work to, I guess, make hockey as safe and enjoyable for everyone as possible. They have stuff like a reconciliation round as well. They have a Live In for Hockey round, which is all around mental health. So for a small organisation, they punch well above their weight in making sure that, sport and hockey in particular is a place for everyone to participate. And I guess it makes you proud. You're extremely proud that you are part of a sport where everyone feels like they can come and play, and it's very much the same for our club as well. We will take anyone and everyone and make them feel included, and try and teach them the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that about hockey. It is one of the best things.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like the 3 major sports I did growing up, which was tennis, hockey, and swimming. And I think across the board, hockey had the most even of men and women playing together sometimes in the teenager groups, and splitting off into men and women's, just still having a very successful competition for both.
Yeah, and I mean, last year I played 4th grade, so nothing special. But whenever we were down on players, there was never a hesitation to ask some of the women to come and play for our team, and for the most part, they were the better players on the field. There's no doubt about that, actually.
Yeah, I love that about Canberra. I don't know if that's really done back where I'm from.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I know there were rules about going up to A grade and coming back down to, I can't remember them now. I remember it used to be my life at one point. I was very obsessed with it because I just wanted to play as much hockey as I could get my hands on. But yeah, when I came to Canberra and found out that women filled in for the men's team, that blew my mind. I was just so happy that regardless of what you were or who you are, you could get on the field and have a bit of run around, especially in those lower grades. I know we've got the cider ship and the beer ship.
Yes, yeah. They're focused on hockey at times, but there are other priorities as well.
Look, they're very fun off the field.
Yes.
I know most of those men and women, they're definitely the fun ones.
Yeah, I remember when I first started playing, they had a competition called midweek, so you played hockey in the middle of the week. There was no training or anything. It was more of a social thing. And we played against 4 or 5 other clubs, and all of them had teams that were only men. But at UC, the opportunity was out there for anyone. And so we did. We had a 50-50 makeup of men and women in our team. And I have no doubt that made us far stronger than the other teams. And we won 3 premierships in a row, all of them against ANU. So
yes,
I love.
So that's a win. I'm sorry, all my ANU friends out there, but look, UCB and ANU, I love it.
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. But yeah, I just think the sport provides the opportunity for men and women to play side by side, and I love it. And I look at some of our first grade ladies, people like Olivia Martin, Sarah Haynes. Those players are phenomenal. They can do things that I could only dream of trying to attempt, and they're great role models for the younger ladies that we have coming up, but I think role models for the whole club. And it's so great to see a lot of our club, men, women, whoever, come out and support them, just even on the weekend for a regular old game. So, I love the role that the women play in sport, but the women that play in our club provide for the whole membership.
Oh yeah, no, I very much like to think so. I know there was a couple of littler girls. I say little now; they're in year 10 or something. They're getting taller than me, but I'd like to think I look after them the way that my mentors looked after me, especially at the UC Devils when it was first.
Yes.
When I first came here in 2021. So I know it's only 3 years ago now, but I don't know about COVID time for people, but it just messes with my head time-wise. Somebody was telling me 2019 was 5 years ago, and I didn't want to believe them.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah, how?
Yeah, wow.
How is that? I got no idea. So the men's and women's team in the Australian leagues, or not talking Australian, we're talking like worldwide.
International.
Yes, that's the. I mean, we had Pitbull earlier. I was tuning in that. The Kookaburras.
Yeah, so the men's side called the Kookaburras, historically extremely successful. Have won plenty of world championships, champions trophies, Olympic gold. They sort of go from strength to strength. Andrew Charter is a Canberra boy, plays in goals and is probably one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. So they come in second in what we call the Pro League. So Pro League has teams from Europe, the Americas, and then Australia, sometimes New Zealand, but I don't think they're in it this year. So they're coming second and doing very well. Netherlands are coming first, and they're almost very good. But the women as well, so they're called the Hockey Roos, and they're coming fourth. So both teams at this point in time definitely with a shot of playing finals.
Yeah, looking at finals time, getting serious about it.
Yeah, 100%. So it's sort of the premier international competition, but I dare say just about every country at the moment would be focused on Paris. So I guess in hockey, we hold the World Championship and Olympic gold in sort of a similar stead. That they're sort of equal in terms of, I guess, the prestige. So, yeah, they'll all be heading in to Paris in pretty good form by the looks of it, which is really exciting. Last Olympics, in Tokyo, the men came up just short with silver to Belgium.
I did watch that one. It was
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Really heartbreaking. They played so well. So hopefully they can go one better this year. But the women have improved out of sight since Tokyo, and I think they would have an expectation they win a medal. Which colour I'm not sure, and I'm sure they'll do their best. But I think we're a very strong medal opportunity in both the men's and the women's, which is really exciting to see. And I guess the Olympics are exciting because it's the opportunity, I think, for most Australians to see hockey and understand it and watch a bit of it and get passionate about it. So it's always exciting when the Olympics come around and you can see, and I guess the everyday Australian, those not involved in hockey, get an opportunity to watch hockey and understand it, and
I think it's interesting that even though it's a winter sport here, it's played in the original Paris, or is it going to be in the winter?
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's a winter sport here.
Yeah.
I mean, especially.
I think it's crazy that at times it's a winter sport.
Yeah.
Because we, as I said, we play on a water-based surface, and in the middle of a Canberra winter, you can get freeze outs. So the water on the field freezes, and you're essentially ice skating.
Or everybody bring your skates this training. We're gonna
that's scary. I know there are different versions of hockey, but we have registered for field hockey. So when it turns into ice hockey, it's a bit of a shock for everyone, and we're not very good at it.
Not lining up for it.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I've heard. I was at the Pink concert, which is a bit of a random thing to say to begin with. Trust me, stick with me here. There was a couple of women I was talking to just on the lines to get back in the trains. So anyone who's been to Olympic Park for a concert ever has lined up for those trains, and it takes a hot sec, especially if you stay back for a couple of cheeky ones at the end. And they said they signed up for a random ticket to something. I think it was shooting at the time, and they just went and watched it just because it was in Sydney and it was the Olympics. So just having random sport on all the time, I think it's a great avenue for any sport, really, just to get seen and be liked, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think, the Olympics these days are even more accessible through online streaming and TV and that sort of thing. So it is an opportunity to see, wild and wacky sports. I'd never watched sports climbing before.
Sports
Tokyo.
climbing?
Yeah, and it's mad. So, running up a wall as quickly as you can, and then bouldering, and it was cool. But I think, that's the power of the Olympics, is to watch different sports and sports that you're not engaged in. But yeah, definitely for hockey, It is really exciting to have that on a national and international stage, and it should be really good. I do hope both the Kookaburras and the Hockeyroos do well, because they're definitely trending towards that.
I think my favourite medal winning ever is a classic in Australian culture and history, and I think you already know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Mr. Stephen Bradbury, iconic. So our wacky sport of the week, we're looking at underwater hockey, which is bizarre to me, but created by the British Navy in the 1950s to keep them fit. They've got a weighted puck on the bottom of the pool, and you basically got to duck dive with your little stick and give it a whack along the pool floor.
Yeah, I wouldn't be good at this.
No, me either.
Just straight off the bat, I'm a decent swimmer, but combining hockey and swimming, I think I'd probably drown.
Yeah, no, I think as someone who also had swum for a decade at one point in my life, I think I don't think I'd survive very well.
Yeah, it seems crazy. Like I've never played it before. I don't think I've ever seen it before. I don't remember seeing it before. But apparently we're quite good. The women won the World Championships last year.
I wonder how many teams participate in the world. Like, not diminishing anything that they've done, but I wonder how many teams actually participate.
Yeah. It's crazy. I didn't realise that it was a thing, but apparently it is. And the Australian women won.
I mean, basically like ice hockey, if you can picture it, ice hockey, but with littler sticks underwater and with a weighted puck.
Yeah.
So it's, if anyone wants to look it up, it'd be absolutely phenomenal of you to look it up, because the photos are just amazing. They've got water polo, like headgear on. There's so many different types of ways you can hit the puck under the water. It says non-contact sport, and you can't touch anyone with your free hand. But as someone who holds a hockey stick with two hands, I think I'd struggle whacking something with one.
Yeah, well, it looks like the sticks are very short and probably a little bit sort of bulkier. But yeah, I think traditional hockey players probably would struggle to transition because it does look like it's a very different technique hitting a puck as well. We don't do that. We play with a ball. So yeah, look, it looks like it's pretty funky. But apparently
our next
Australia's
team building.
Our
next team building. We just throw a puck in the middle of the water. Off you go. Bring your sticks. Off you go.
We'll have to make sure we do regular head counts. We haven't just lost someone at the bottom of the pool.
Oh no, there's Maggie. She's gone.
Yeah, look, it looks like. I mean, I think it'd be great to try at least once as a regular sport.
Yeah, maybe not for me. I know I've advocated for a lot of different new UC Stars leagues of different things, so I don't know if I can advocate for this, especially since we don't have a pool on campus.
Yeah, that makes it difficult.
Unless there's a secret one, or it rains a bit hard, then maybe we might have a secret pool. Apart from that, I haven't seen any inkling of one. That brings us to the end of the show today. I'd like to thank Shaun for joining me on air. It's been wonderful to have you here.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thanks to everyone out there listening, especially me mum. I know you chuck it on Spotify. It's good stuff. I'm sure the menagerie of animals appreciate it. Hearing my voice and looking for me around the house. So thank you for joining me either on Spotify or online during the radio hour or the podcast that comes out after. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.